Hello, welcome to our devotional through Second Timothy. We're now in Second Timothy chapter 4. We're going to be picking it up at verse 6. Paul is beginning to get to the conclusion of his letter, and he's been basically spent three and a half, 4 chapters encouraging Timothy to be steadfast and strong, to stick with the Bible, to stick with the truth, to be willing to suffer for Christ Jesus, to train up godly leaders to follow in his footsteps. In verse 6, he begins to express why this has been such an urgent, passionate letter from him. He says in verse 6, "For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come." He knows he's ready to leave this world soon, that he's going to be meeting Jesus soon, and his earthly ministry is going to be coming to an end. And he says, I need to get others ready. And so he has this passion. He wants to see generation after generation be faithful in following Jesus. So he encourages Timothy. He said, I'm about ready to leave the scene, but here's the example I've set for you, which he says in verse 7. He goes, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. Now I want you to notice 3 things he says here. First of all, he says, I fought the good fight. And what he means by that is I pursued that which was worth pursuing. I was passionate about that which was worth having passionate priority for. You know, sometimes people have all kinds of priorities and pursuits in life. Some people will spend their whole life pursuing something that really has no value. But the good thing about following Jesus, pursuing him, serving him, is that's the good fight. That's worth giving up everything for. That's the good fight. And he says, I finished the race. In other words, Paul says, I didn't start at this journey and not finish it. It's very easy to start a race. I could start 1,000 marathons. There's no applause. There's no value. There's nothing commendable about starting a race. But finishing the race, that's where the value is. That's what takes endurance, perseverance, commitment. And that's what he's talking about to Timothy. He's saying, Timothy, you started the race. You're fighting the good fight, but you got to finish. You got to finish strong. You can't stop now. And third, he says, I have kept the faith. What it means is kept the faith is I've not compromised. I've not broken the rules. I've stayed within the lanes. I've stayed within the lines. I've run the race that's been set before me. I'm not given in to the pressure of the world. I've not changed the message to make it more accommodating and more acceptable, but I've been willing to suffer and be faithful for Christ Jesus. And because of that faithfulness and finishing the race and fighting the good fight, he says in verse 8, henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord himself, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing. So Paul's saying, I'm not just talking about me. I'm not some special case. What is true of Paul is true of every Christian. Be faithful to God. Persevere in the faith, do it God's way without compromise, and at the end of the day, there will be the crown of righteousness, the reward of the victor, the overcomer, and the righteous judge will say to you on that day, well done, my good and faithful servant. Hopefully that's true for you. Hopefully that's true for me, and I hope that you find this to be a word of encouragement to stay strong, keep enduring, and don't compromise. Have a blessed day.